Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol Battle Report. Today for you we have 17 threat of the A-Force going up against 17 threat of the new Avengers, with Sam Wilson again taking the lead. Both sides though are bringing some heavy hitters, so although there's not many models in each side, they pack a punch. But we can go into more details about that as we take a look at the teams. So here are the 4 miniatures on the A-Force side, of course being led by the incredible She-Hulk. She is very potent on the table, and she is joined by the very scary Scarlet Witch, and also in her own right very powerful as well, Medusa, the Inhuman. And then to fill out the last 2 points we have a Okoye for like backline objective sitting and all that good stuff. I don't think she really needs to bodyguard these people, but you know, that is also an option I guess. And the tactics cards being brought, we have A-Force Assemble, all you've got, Field Dressing, Advanced R&D and Special Delivery, which is still usable because Scarlet Witch has flight, doesn't need to be Captain Marvel. And here are our Avengers, a mixture of old and new, being led by Sam Wilson, Captain America, and then we have War Machine, who was very dependable in his first showing last time, especially for a 3-threat character. And then because of the space, with both them being so cheap, there was enough room to bring the God of Thunder himself, Thor, and then also the Incredible Hulk on his very, very large base. And their tactics cards, Second Wind, Bird of Prey, Brace for Impact, Thunder Wave, and Med Pack. And here are the 2 crises being played, the Extraction, which is also the threat value being played, the 5 cube fragments. If you hold a cube fragment, you get 1 victory point, but you also take 1 damage and gain 1 extra power in the subsequent power phase. And then the 16 threat Secure with Mere Fisk vows to find the missing witnesses. There's 2 witnesses on the opposite edges that we'll look at in a second. You score 2 victory points for each witness you secure, but then the witness might run away. So, there's 1 witness, there's the other. In the centre of the map there's 1 cube fragment, and then branching off in the other 4 directions there, behind those rocks there, behind this tree here, and this tree here, are the other cube fragments. So we are all set up and raring to go. The A-Force is deployed on your right and will be going first, and the Avengers are of course on your left. Only 4 miniatures, so not much to cover here in deployment, but Scarlet Witch and She-Hulk are next to each other, and then Medusa is there, and then off on her lonesome up there is Okoye. And then over here we have the Hulk. Down here at the bottom, of course, the Hulk generates an extra 2 power in the power phase. Thor generates an extra 1 for being an Asgardian, and that's where he is. War Machine is there, and we're going to have to come around this side of the table here. Sam is hiding behind this side of this building here, kind of giving him a clear run at the objectives over in that direction. So with that, let's get Battle Round 1 started. So to get the game started, Okoye was the first activation, and of course she moved in a manner that's very hard to film from this side, but she was there. She moves medium, so we have to come around this side of the table and see that she ended up right next to the house here, hoping for some cover, but didn't do anything else besides move next to the cube fragment that was there and spent her 1 power to pick it up. She's not throwing herself away, going after that witness there. Sam was first up for the Avengers, and he did a 2-part move. His first one, he moves long, so he had more than enough to do this. Moved roughly there, spent 1 to pick up the power that was next to that tree, and then moved again, so he's on the allied side, or his allies side, of this witness here, but within 1, so he is securing it. Medusa was next for the A-Force, and she just medium moved twice, which gave her more than enough movement to get into the centre and take the swing cube, because each side has 2 on their side, but the middle is the one that anyone can grab and could be the difference in how the points swing at the end of the round. So currently the A-Force have 2 now, and the Avengers only have 1, but they're securing a witness that I don't think the A-Force can get to this turn. War Machine activated, and 1 medium move would not have put him within range 3 to shoot at Medusa, so instead, given that he can fly, he went roughly here, and then he flew over the tree here, down here to spend his 1 power to pick up the cube fragment that was there. That kind of frees up Thor to instead be the one who maybe goes into the middle to meet Medusa. She-Hulk activated, and it is still very much just a snatch and grab turn 1. She medium moves, so she did so to the rocks here to pick up the cube fragment that was there, and then medium moved again round the corner to start securing the witness here, because this is the one they want to try and claim. I'm not sure if that will be the case. It might be a draw depending on how people move, but we'll have to see. So Thor activated next, leaving just the Hulk for the actual Avengers, and he moved forwards medium, and rather than moving again to go over to help secure that witness over there, he instead spent 1 of his 2 power to chuck his hammer at Medusa. Did pretty well, got through for 2 damage, and also does the shock condition rather, so she'll be rolling one less die in attacks, but that does mean he's not helping contest the witness. It does also mean that the affiliation bonus for the A-Force kicked in because one of them took damage, another one is selected and they gain power, so Scarlet Witch has just been given one free power. So the Scarlet Witch was the last one up for the A-Force, and it was a pacifist first turn for the A-Force because she just double medium moved as well to secure the witness that is here. So both she and She-Hulk are doing that. They're both still in a perfect position for special delivery next turn, and it is just over to the Hulk now to end off Battle Round 1. So the Hulk activated and he double small moved in order to contest the witness here, and then spent 2 of his 3 power on strongest one there is to pick up She-Hulk and throw her. So now instead of being the minority, it's now a draw between him and Scarlet Witch for the purposes of who's controlling that witness at the end of the turn. But because when you throw a enemy character, you measure from the character, not the person picking up the thing and throwing it, like when you throw scenery, there wasn't a way to throw She-Hulk in a manner where she would collide with something for the 1 damage and also be far enough away that she wasn't contesting this. Because if he got threw her into the tree, she's still within 1. Throw her in Scarlet Witch, she's still within 1. The rocks, she's still within 1. So he had to chuck her back the way, and it wasn't far enough with a medium throw to make her hit the building. So she didn't take any damage, but she's not contesting. And with that, we are already into the cleanup phase for Battle Round 1. So at the end of a fairly swift Battle Round 1, the A-Force have 3 of the cube fragments for 3 victory points, and that's all the points they have on the board, because this witness down here is contested as previously discussed. The Avengers have 2 cube fragments for 2 victory points, and they did secure the witness on the far end of the table, which has now been moved by the A-Force 2 in this direction for 2 victory points, meaning that the Avengers lead 4-3 as we go into Battle Round 2 with the A-Force going first. However, also just have to mention the cube fragments, they all hurt people carrying them for 1, but also generate them 1 as we go into the power phase, so we'll just cover that now. She-Hulk took damage from the cube, War Machine did, Medusa did, that's her at 3 damage now in total. Sam did, and round the back there, Okoye did as well. So that's all the damage dealt to them by the cube, but in the power phase, which we're into now, basically, they'll get 1 extra power each. The sensational She-Hulk was first up in Battle Round 2 for the A-Force. She immediately moved back to where she was prior to the throw, more or less, and then she did her sensational uppercut on the Hulk, and it wasn't that sensational, honestly. It only had 1 success on 7 physical dice. Thankfully, he didn't roll any successful defenses, so if we get this tree out of the way, he took 1 damage and was slowed. The reason he's over there is because with that 1 power she generated from that, she then had enough on her to pick him up and throw him. So he did, or rather she did, and threw him into War Machine, and that baited out the brace for impact being played because Hulk is size 4, so War Machine didn't really want to take that damage. They both played 1 power and did not take damage from the throw or the collision. War Machine was first up for the Avengers, hoping to take advantage of She-Hulk and Scarlet Witch being next to each other. He flew over, he is contesting the witness, and then he did his basic 5 physical metal storm, I think it's called, but it's a beam, so it caught both of them. Unfortunately, against She-Hulk the roll was just rubbish. Against Scarlet Witch the roll was better, but thanks to her being able to count skulls as successes, she took no damage. War Machine did however get a wild in the roll against her, so she is bleeding, but took no damage. Medusa activated next for the A-Force, and she had her target set on Captain America. She moved medium, which was not enough to get within securing range of the witness, incidentally, but it was barely enough to get within 3 to Braid Bash Sam. She did 1 Braid Bash, 5 dice down to 4 because of the shock, and Sam took 2 damage from that. Oh sorry, he used Vibranium Shield on both of these, incidentally. His defense rolls were garbage despite it being 5 versus 4 dice. So he took 2 damage from the first one. That left him with 2 remaining, I believe, because there's 5 on his healthy side. She got the wild, so she's allowed to do another Braid Bash for free. She also has an optional push, but obviously didn't use that because that would have knocked him out of range of the follow-up attack. Follow-up attack had like 3 crits out of the 4 dice, did 3 damage, so Sam has been dazed. Very, like, and again, because he used Vibranium Shield, that should not have happened, but that was just 2 very good rolls for attack versus 2 exceptionally subpar rolls for defense on 5 dice. So the cube fragment he had been holding is dropped there, and he won't be getting a turnless activation. Very disappointing. Oh, but that does mean, however, that the Avengers affiliation bonus for him kicks in. So someone can heal 1, remove a status, and move small. We'll come back with that in a second. So from the all new, all different affiliation bonus, it was the Hulk that was chosen, so he has healed the 1 damage on him, removed the slow, not that it meant anything. More importantly though, he gets a free small movement, which has put him right smack dab in the face of Scarlet Witch and She-Hulk, and also is securing, or contesting at least, the witness that's there. So the Hulk activated to make the most out of Captain America's sacrifice, him being right smack dab in front of 2 enemies. He did 2 basic strikes because he couldn't do a thunderclap really, since both of them had really good energy defense. So he did the first strike on She-Hulk, and as you can see they all ended up over here. But to cover things in order, first basic strike against She-Hulk, 2 damage, good enough, and it included a push because of a wild, so that's why she got pushed back there. He then tried to do a basic strike on the Scarlet Witch and did not get through her defense. Again, Skull's helping her make sure she took no damage. So just to be a nuisance, he spent 2 power on strongest one there is again to pick Scarlet Witch up and this time throw her at She-Hulk, so she just takes 1 from the impact. She-Hulk whiffed her defense roll, so took the full size 2 plus 1 damage for 3, so I think she's up to 6 in total of her 20 health. And more importantly, because She-Hulk's already activated, oh actually I was going to say there's no way for them to contest this, but actually with the special delivery I think they still can. So the Scarlet Witch activated, and she is scary as previously said. So she was back here with She-Hulk, and that put them both within range to start with a special delivery to be used. When an A-Force member with flight, which she has, starts their activation within 2 of an allied She-Hulk, they were base to base. They each spend 1, and then when you finish the move with them, which she did as her first action, you place She-Hulk within 1. She-Hulk then gets to do a attack at cost 0, so she did a sensational uppercut on War Machine. It did 2 damage, reduced to 1 by his armor plating roll, but still 1 damage. So then Scarlet Witch did her Hex Bolt. It had 3 skulls in the roll, which both count as successes for her, and also let her inflict status conditions, so Rhodey now is bleeding, poisoned, and on fire. And he took 4 damage from the Hex Bolt, reduced to 3 again because of his armor plating. So I think that in total puts him on 5 damage, so he is 1 away from being dazed. She could have tried to do telekinesis, but her telekinesis only affects scenery, not people, so she wasn't able to chuck him away to give them majority here. So the only way for them to have majority would have been to knock Rhodey out, and he hung on just enough to stop that happening. Oh, I absolutely stand corrected. I forgot Rhodey had 1 damage on him from the cube that he was holding, so in fact that is exactly enough that he's dazed, so all those status effects don't matter. He's unconscious. He is dropping the cube fragment he was holding. Scarlet Witch is just going to pay 1 to immediately pick it up, and did also forget to cover. She's poisoned and didn't get rid of it. Sorry, bleeding and didn't get rid of it, so she is taking 1 damage from that as well. But yeah, Rhodey is actually out for the turn. Thor was the final activation for the Avengers. He medium moved to roughly there, then he spent 3 power, which was all he had, on a For Asgard, which is a move followed by a strike, and if the strike did damage you would also do stagger, although it doesn't matter, because he actually managed to do an amazing 4 damage. It was a very good roll versus a very bad defense roll. Only needed to do 3, so Medusa was dazed, generating him 3 power because of damage dealt, and he spent 1 of that to pick up the cube fragment she dropped. He is also contesting, or securing rather, the witness there, but he was not close enough to pick up the cube fragment that Captain America dropped. So it's over to Okoye, who's already holding 1 cube fragment, to see what she does to end off battle round 2. So for Okoye's activation, a snatch and grab was considered yet again, just to grab the cube fragment and run, but given that she would just die next turn to damage from the cubes anyway, she instead opted to just move between the 2, spend 1 power to pick it up, so she's holding 2 cube fragments. Which means once she takes damage in the power phase, she'll be 1 away from knockout. But also she is securing the witness, so it's actually a draw there. So she's denying some Avengers victory points. And with that we are into the cleanup and scoring for that turn. So at the end of battle round 2, the A-Force made quite the comeback, because they have 4 of the 5 cube fragments for 4 victory points. And thanks to War Machine being dazed, that witness there scored them another 2, and because of that the Avengers then got to move it within 2, so she has ran over there behind the Hulk and War Machine. Obviously War Machine and Captain America will be flipping their cards, and for the Avengers the only points they gained was the 1 cube fragment that Thor picked up. So as we go into battle round 3 with the Avengers going first, the A-Force have taken the lead with 9-5, and everyone who has cube fragments, so Scarlet Witch, She-Hulk, Thor, Okoye, who has 2 of them, so she's 1 away from being dazed, they all generate extra power and have taken the damage that you've seen. So Thor got battle round 3 started with quite the turn, although there was some bad rolls mixed in. He opened his turn by doing just a basic strike, which hit Medusa for 2 damage and got a wild, so he was allowed to throw her. So he chucked her into the building there, hence the next 1 damage to her there. He then spent his 6 power, all he had, he still had 1 left after that, on God of Thunder, which is his 7 energy area 2 attack, which caught Okoye and Medusa. Okoye only took 1 damage, but that wasn't enough to daze her. He gave up his 1 power to pick up one of the cube fragments she dropped. The other one, however, has been placed within 2, so is within Sam's there. And Medusa, the roll against her was absolutely terrible. She only took 1 damage from the 7 energy God of Thunder attack. In total, she's taken 4 on her wounded side, which is bad for her. But the actual attack, it should have been enough to finish her off. But either way, Thor is now holding 2 of the cube fragments, and the other one is there on the floor up for grabs, and Okoye is not getting a turn. So we are staying over this side of the table because Medusa activated and started, she was sitting on 10 power incidentally, started by playing an out of focus field dressing. There we are. So if a dazed character is within 2, you spend 4, you remove 1 damage from them and the dazed token. So Okoye may yet activate. She has 1 health remaining again and is no longer dazed. For her first actual action, she did her Braid Bash on Thor. It hit him for 3 damage, which was pretty bad. And then she spent 2 on Hair Flip to throw him small, and he was thrown into Sam. So he took 1 damage from that. Sam also took 1 damage from the result of the throw. Then for her other actual action, because that was a attack and then a superpower and a tactics card, she just moved, so she was between the witness and the cube that Okoye had dropped, and she paid 1 to pick it up. Now she's only got 2 health remaining on her wounded side. Sam's not exactly a damage dealer, but it is potentially feasible he could take her out. But she's guaranteed it now that even if Okoye doesn't get a turn, Thor will daze from the cube damage when that happens. Sam was next up, and he had a lot better luck than he had last turn. He chucked his shield from where he was standing. He was willing to do 2 if it was required, but he actually did a lot better than expected. He did 2 damage to Medusa, it boinged off her head with the wild into Okoye, did 2, only needed to do 1 to her, so she's dazed. And as for Medusa, that was actually enough to take her out of the game. He also had 1 power remaining, which he paid to pick up the cube fragment that she had picked up. And then for his actual action, moved so that he is securing the witness there. I was going to call her a hostage. Securing the witness there. The Scarlet Witch activated next for the A-Force, and she did not remove her bleed during her turn, so she has taken 1 more damage from that. Instead, she did 2 Hex Bolts on War Machine. The first one did Incinerate, Poison, and 1 damage, but that's irrelevant because the second one would have actually been enough to insta-kill him because it did 5. He's on his wounded side, he has 5 health on that. War Machine is gone. So the Hulk was the last one for the Avengers this turn, and he was very busy. He spent 4 on Hulk Smash into She-Hulk and got a wild, which means he does a stagger and a short throw. So he threw her into Scarlet Witch. She took 1 damage from that. Scarlet Witch took 3 with the defense roll, and was remembering that she counts skulls as successes. So she dropped her cube, and it's been placed over there. From the Hulk Smash, She-Hulk took 6 damage and was staggered, so she'd only get 1 activation. For his other actual action, he just did a basic strike on her, and that managed to do 4 damage. I want to show you the roll for it. This is the roll right here. He got 4 crits, 2 hits, although those 4 crits actually only converted into 1 additional one, but still an absolutely amazing roll on a basic strike. So I think all said and done, she's at, she had 7 damage on her. The throw with the smash did 7, so that's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and she's holding a cube fragment, so that'll be 19. So when it rolls over to the next turn, she'll have 1 health remaining. So with the A-Force's final activation being She-Hulk, she decided to go for a Hail Mary play. First of all, she had to get rid of her stagger condition, which was not great. But then she did what's called superior weight training, which adds dice to her next attack equal to the size of the target, so that's 4 dice. She did a sensational uppercut, made it 11 dice against the Hulk, and as you can see it did 6 damage to him there. But she wasn't done yet, because she knew that she wasn't long for this world, so she actually just bothered to try and kill the Hulk by playing All You've Got. So she spends 4 power and gets another turn because she's threat 6. And it's threat 6 or less that can use this card. Unfortunately, her bonus turn was not great. She tried to do another sensational uppercut. It did no damage. And then she was like, okay, fine, I'm going to die anyway. She did the defense rests, a 9 physical, 5 power. If it does damage, it would slow, although he was actually slowed off of that, so it would become stagger instead. And the dice roll for it is sitting over here. This is the dice roll for the defense rests. 6 block dice, 2 shields, and 1 hit, which the Hulk blocked, and his 2 defense dice. So the defense rests did nothing, and with all you've got, She-Hulk is now off the table, as is the affiliation bonus, and the cube fragment she was holding has been dropped there. But, all said and done, the Hulk is hurt. Not enough though. Not enough for what that cost. So at the end of that battle round, things are definitely looking up for the Avengers because they scored a lot of points. They held both the witnesses, who have all been moved within 2 of their position now. The other one is kind of over by Okoye now, around the corner there, for 4 victory points there. And they hold 3 of the 5 cube fragments for 3 victory points, the other 2 of which are on the floor right there and there, meaning that the A-Force gained nothing in that turn, and the Avengers have now pulled ahead 12-9. And in battle round 4 will also be getting first turn. Sam takes 1 damage from the cube fragment he's holding. Haven't put it down next to Thor because the 2 damage he's about to take in the power phase. You score first and then into the power phase is when the damage from the cube fragments happens. He's going to be insta-dazed, so he won't be getting a turn, and the 2 cube fragments he's dropped will be placed onto the floor unless Sam quickly goes and snatches them up. So Thor has dazed, and then Sam activated. He flew next to where the 2 cube fragments Thor had been holding dropped, paid 2 power to pick them up, and is securing the witness there. Did not do anything with his other actual action because he doesn't want to feed power to Okoye to give her the chance to do 2 spear thrusts. Because if he manages to withstand her onslaught, the Avengers win this turn, more or less. It's basically guaranteed as long as Hulk can score a point in one point in some fashion. But he's got 2 damage, so she only needs to do 3 damage with 2 attacks. So we'll see. Seeing no other option than to try and take out the Hulk, Wanda activated first, and she spent 6 power or 5 power on Cruel Twist, which is her massive mystic attack. It doesn't let you add dice for crit results on the defender, not that Hulk rolls many dice anyway. And if she had got a skull, I think you convert dice, although she actually rolled no skulls in the roll, so it doesn't matter. But she did manage to do an amazing 5 damage to him, which put him at 11 of his 20 health, but that wasn't enough that a follow-up attack would do 9 damage. So she moved back to secure the civilian and pick up one of the cube fragments for the 1 power she had left. That wasn't really good enough, because the Hulk can now contest this. In fact, not even contest, because I knocked the tree away. Hold it, because he is healthy, because Hulk and She-Hulk only have healthy sides. So he can pick up that, and this can use Gamma Leap. He's sitting on 10 power, I think, or 9 power. So there's no way to stop the Avengers winning, because that would be 3 victory points there. Oh, actually, no, they need 4 to win. So if Okoye does take out Sam, we were going to do the Okoye turn regardless. But I think if she takes him out, there would technically be 1 more turn, although then Thor would just devour her. So we'll probably still end the game anyway. But let's see if she can take him out. Sorry, we'll just quickly cover Hulk's turn first. Gamma leapt into position, paid 1 power to pick up the cube fragment. Securing that, he did a Hulk smash on Wanda to try and take her out. It did 4 damage, so that wasn't enough. So he paid for Strongest One There Is to just pick her up and throw her, so he's securing that. If he'd managed to take her out, he would have been earning 4 victory points. As it is, he is earning the 3. So she didn't even need her second action. She spent the only power she had, the 4 power on Vibranium Spear Thrust. It did 3 damage and took Sam out. He didn't have enough, he didn't have any power. He didn't have enough, though, to do Vibranium Shield. So he dropped the 3 he's holding. He's obviously dazed, so she is holding that civilian / witness. But again, it still doesn't really matter if we just count up the scores rather straight away. A-Force gets 2 for that witness, the Avengers get 2 for their witness, and Hulk is holding 1 of the cube fragments for 1 as well. Wanda is holding a cube fragment, but she's 1 away from death, sorry, once the cube hurts her. So if we did go into turn 5, as long as the Avengers, minus Sam, because he is gone, minus Sam, score, between them, Thor and Hulk just need to score 1 victory point, because it leaves them on 15. The A-Force are on 12. Thor could go pick up those 3 cube fragments and just tank Okoye, because he's got 8 health on his wounded side. So I don't think there's much chance of them not scoring, plus he can contest the witness over there. Hulk, I mean, it's possible. Who would be getting first turn? No, the Avengers would be getting first turn, so Hulk would just need to do 1 damage to Wanda and then move back to there. So there's no point playing the final turn. The A-Force are not going to be able to win this. Although I guess some of the rolls have been a little bit ridiculous. We'll very quickly do Hulk's turn, because if Hulk takes out Wanda, because she's on, 5 damage, 4 damage, but the Q fragment puts her at 5, yeah, Hulk just needs to do 1 damage to her, then there's absolutely no way they can lose. Hulk moved in and did his basic strike, and I've been forgetting to mention because it's such a while since we've seen him on the table, but for every 3 damage on him he gets extra dice into his attack, so he was rolling like 11 or something. Either way, there's the attack roll. There's Wanda's defense roll. The skull is a success, so that is actually a success of 3, but not enough. She is gone, so at that point there's literally no way for the A-Force to win, so it is an Avengers win today. So MVP of that match was definitely the Hulk. He took a beating, kept on going, and did a lot of damage. I believe the last time these two were on the table and not in the same team, She-Hulk just wrecked him, was just chucking him around and doing a lot of damage. Now, to be fair, she did do a 7-die attack followed by a 9-die attack. No, she did a superior weight training, so it was an 11-die attack, which did like 4 damage, then a 7-die attack, and then a 9-die attack, and neither of those did damage to someone who's rolling 2 defense dice. So that was obviously not statistical, that was terrible, but, well, I was going to say it wouldn't have made a difference. It absolutely would have. If she'd done even just a little bit of damage with that, Wanda probably would have been able to take Hulk out. That would have left her alone on that side of a table with, she'd gain 4 victory points a turn. I think the Avengers would still outpace, because Okoye wouldn't be able to stand up to Thor, and he'd be generating 5, assuming he could just chuck her out the way. So it would have been closer, but I think the Avengers still would have taken it. But either way, Hulk did well there, but statistically speaking, that shouldn't have happened, because of how appallingly unlucky She-Hulk got with a couple of rolls there. But it was an interesting one, bringing heavy hitters along with like weaker characters. I don't think Sam performed well today. War Machine didn't get a chance to spend all the power he was generating from being a beat stick. We didn't get a chance to play Second Wind. It would have been, I think Sam suits an Avengers list. Like, this was a bit of an experiment, like take a cheap leader and then take heavy hitters like Thor and the Hulk. I think he suits a list better where you're going for like a horde list, like 3s and 2s, maybe a 4, depending on the value being played. I don't know. It's interesting though. Interesting. Anyway, that is going to do it for this match and this table layout. Probably going to change it up for next time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Go check out the playlist if you want to see more Crisis Protocol. And until next time, ta for now.